by the way, don't eat pumpkin. That's just another vegetable, man. I'm doing that for dessert. I don't care how much sugar you put in it.
Oh,
What a season. What a year. There's so much to be thankful for and to talk about. So let's talk about it on Steve Brown, etc.
He's an old white guy, an author, broadcaster, and seminary professor who's sick of religion. And he's brought friends. Please welcome Steve Brown, etc.
And we're so glad you're here. It's just us, you and us. We don't have a guest to abuse, so we're going to
abuse each other.
Yeah. Right. If you're wondering, I'm Steve, the aforementioned old white guy. Matthew Porter is here. This Thanksgiving, Matthew's going to try a new phrase. No thanks, I'm full.
It couldn't hurt. Let's try it once.
Wow, we ought to pull that off in the studio, man. Well, at any rate, our producer Jeremy is in his little glass booth. Jeremy is so health conscious, for Thanksgiving dessert, he's going to have a big bowl of Ozempic.
Oh, my God. That's nasty.
And, you know,
That's gross.
now just check what he looks like. He starts doing that, he's going to look like in the shower a zipper, and when he turns sideways, he will disappear.
That's right, I'll be two-dimensional.
Matthew Porter, incidentally, is our executive producer, and Jeremy, our producer. But the man that really makes it happen is our one-man IT department, John Myers, and he's in his tech bunker. John, we can't see you, but we know you're the one who took the last slice of pumpkin pie. And Dr. George Bingham is the president of Key Life. George likes to invite vegans over for Thanksgiving. More turkey for him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an economic thing.
Yeah, that's right. And Cathy Wyatt is the soft, feminine side of the program. She also is the one who created the feast before us. The pecan pie, it's not pecan. That's something else. The pecan. The pecan pie is something to die for. She asked me if I wanted another piece, and I said, "Are you crazy? I can eat that whole thing." But you are looking at an amazing demonstration of restraint and discipline and spirituality. I ought to only you applaud, but you get it. I said no to the second and third and fourth pieces. What's on the menu? What'd you cook?
Well, the pumpkin thing is a little different. That's a snickerdoodle pumpkin
Cobbler.
I keep wanting to say
getting
casserole.
stuck on that word.
I'm stuck on the C word.
If you say casserole,
I know,
like,
right?
I don't
Cobbler.
know.
And the pecan pie is an old favorite. Maribel Morgan, the Total Woman. Some of our audience are too young to remember the Total Woman.
I don't know who that is.
But that's Maribel's pecan chess pie, and it has been a staple in my house for Thanksgivings for at least 40 years.
Well, it is really
It's
good.
great. She's the best pecan pie ever.
And by the way, don't eat pumpkin. That's just another vegetable, man. I ain't doing that for dessert. I don't care how much sugar you put in it.
Oh, stop.
Or how much you fry okra. It's still hairy.
More for us.
And the pumpkin still tastes like pumpkin. And
Leave it for the vegans.
Yeah. Let them eat it. We, by the way, I used to do a all-night talk show in Miami, and Charlie Morgan, who is the aforementioned Maribel's husband, would join me for some of that. About 3 o'clock, he starts to wither, but she was doing a cheesecake cookbook during that time, and he would bring every Sunday night a pile of cheesecake, which I liked at the beginning, less after the 15th one. Once we got to the 20th, I said, I'm never eating this stuff again. Wow. And I don't eat cheesecake. So, what do you think? I'm not thankful for cheesecake. What are you thankful for, Matthew?
I'm thankful for many things. Thankful for this group of people around the table and getting to do this. It's been a weird, it's a big tone shift all out of the gate. But my last grandparent, my grandmother, has been living with my parents for almost all of this year, and that's probably coming to an end, just to be plain. And it's taken that to look back and go, it's been a massive blessing to have been around. She usually lives about 6 hours away. So we've been able to see her more this year than really ever. So
how old is she?
102.
I thought so.
102 years old.
That's so good.
She's a depression baby. She's just unstoppable. So, it's been a really cool thing. Obviously, there's some sadness in the future, but it's been really neat to be able to have some time with her that we wouldn't otherwise.
I love that you see it. I think sometimes we are not thankful for things we ought to be thankful for. When a parent or a grandparent moves in and you got to do the extra work that requires, and it does, the immediate response is, oh, spit. I don't want to. Instead of, and I love the way you say that God has allowed us to spend this year with her without going so far. That is so cool and so good. And
it's so unusual for children to have the opportunity to know their great grandparents. And, Matthew, your kids are old enough that they will have very profound memories of her. Most kids are fortunate enough to at least know, to a certain extent, their grandparents, but not to know their great-grandparents. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it really is. And it's kind of nice that you all could do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And on top of that, maybe you get a story on Good Morning America.
There you go. Can we leverage this?
Yeah.
Is Willard Scott still? No, he's probably not. I don't think he's doing that anymore.
You're thankful. You spent a little bit of time pouring your money into our local hospital.
Yeah.
And he's coughing, and he doesn't even smoke, man.
As a prelude, as a prelude, I'll just do a little cough. Yeah, had a couple of health issues, and it certainly makes me thankful for just having the resources that we've got in this country for healthcare. I didn't realize my voice was going to get this bad. I'm sorry about that, but
well, it sounds more like mine.
Yeah. Well, I had the really deep one.
Not as much as the other day.
Yeah.
I know he sounded just like me. I decided I was going to retire and let him do the talking. We've been friends for so long. We finish each other's sentences, so you could teach this too.
Yeah. Well, almost. But certainly it also made me especially thankful for my wife. And
Absolutely.
Don't go
I knew.
I'm
sorry. I knew I was going to do this.
Reputation.
See, I'm holding it together pretty well, actually.
Actually, he's faking it because she's in the control room.
She can turn him off.
Yeah, right.
But
what about you, Catherine?
This has been a big year for me. I sold my house that I've lived in for 30 years, ever since we moved to Orlando. God just oversaw that in an amazing way. My new best friend, a guy who turned out to be a fraud, almost derailed the whole thing. And then, but the wonderful folks at Sunbelt Title caught that and saved my good name. And anyway, sold it and moved out after 30 years, and I now live in the old folks' retirement home, which is sort of an oxymoron, only because I'm not retired, but I am old. So I got it covered on about 50%. But it's a great community, and I'm really happy there, and really like my neighbors and my new church and
I know.
all of that.
I wonder
You
if we
can't
could
stop talking about Lutheranism. It's just,
I wonder if we could get a product placement fee from Sunbelt Title. Maybe
Monetize
we'll have
this.
to check with it.
We
I want
could.
to know when you're going to get a golf cart. I mean,
I know,
Can we
right?
go shopping for that?
You know, I was mentioning before the program started, we were kind of all three of us met in the hall at the same time, and I said, we need a yield sign or something there to keep us. And there's a circle over there in the community, and everybody comes in at the same time from 4 different directions, and you're supposed to yield to whoever's at your left. And the cars are great at it. Cars have no problem, but those people on those golf carts,
they don't even look.
yield to nobody.
I don't
just
have much time
coming.
left anyway. I gotta go.
But I'm thinking about it, You never know.
Jeremy, what are you thankful for? By the way, just so you know, Jeremy has just completed a Christmas album for ESPN.
Whoa.
And you'll be hearing it at some of their games when they play it. He wrote it. I mean, it's so cool. And are you?
When one of the players
we're at-
gets their bell rung.
Wow, they should, yeah. They should license that for the Tyson-Jake Paul fight. Oh, man, dang.
We're gonna. Do you bring any of that music we could play? I mean, we wouldn't have to worry about copyright. You own it.
Oh.
I
think about
might be able to do a little something. Let me see. Let me see what we can do here.
That'd be great if we could hear some of it. At any rate, he is a rising star in media. And I've told him that he'll get the fever and die if he ever leaves Key Life. And he knows that's true. Hey, thanks for joining us on this special Thanksgiving edition. Hey, after you emerge from your turkey coma, be sure to sign up for our free weekly email. It's called Key Life Connection, and it, frankly, is not half bad. While you're thinking about it, go to keylife.org/subscribe. We were talking about stuff we're thankful for, and Jeremy, we ended up saying we were thankful for him to have a media star in our midst. But what are you thankful for, Jeremy?
Whew, gosh. Yeah, I'm thankful for opportunities like that. I'm thankful for, I keep telling anyone who asks, which isn't very many people other than you, Steve. I keep telling anyone who asks if I was going to write an autobiography, it would be called Failing Forward. Because I feel like that's my life. It's like I keep messing things up, and then somehow, God uses that for some kind of good. So I'm thankful for God taking my mess ups and turning them into something good. So ESPN is one of those. My band Relic is another one. That's been a lot of fun and a lot of growth this year, and just excited for what 2025 might look like for all of that stuff. So there you go.
John Myers is in the bunker. Actually, he's off in a corner in the control room, refuses to go on camera or to say anything. And he's probably not thankful at all. If you would like to correct me, John, we'll give you a microphone. We'll do the color thing on you, and then you can tell us what you're thankful for. I'll wait 5 seconds.
It's safe. It's safe to appear the election is over, so
Yeah, right.
you won't get canceled.
I'll tell you, if when I start talking about things I'm thankful for, John is right up near the top of the list. He's amazing. I've often said he's demon possessed. Nobody who's human could do what he does without some supernatural intervention, and he fixes things that really go crazy because we're very technologically invested at Key Life. You wouldn't believe it. I don't understand any of it. In fact, when I said welcome to the talk show, I told you everything I know about technology. And so I'm thankful for John. And by the way, I did note that nobody spoke about Jesus. I mean, you would think in a ministry like this, somebody.
I said God.
That's not the same.
You're right.
You got to speak up for Jesus on occasion.
I didn't think we were at the spiritual part yet. I thought we were just at the food and
Yeah.
the,
Oh, I see.
that kind of
That's
stuff.
your story and your stand.
Absolutely.
You know, when all kidding aside, we're all thankful for the things that we're all thankful for. I mean, I never heard somebody, well, yeah, I have, say I'm not thankful for my family. But I am, and we are. And we're thankful for Jesus, and we're thankful for the country we live in. And, it goes, but of course. But the problem is that the Bible says we're supposed to be thankful for the stuff that we ought not be thankful for. I mean, you know what we did yesterday? One of the voices, some of you know, of Key Life is Jerry Bridges. Not Jerry Bridges, Jerry Perry's. Jerry Bridges, that's somebody else. I got stories about him too. But Jerry Perry's came in, and if you've ever met him, the thing about Jerry is you say, how you doing? He said, I cannot tell you how great I'm doing. And he came into my study before we recorded a week of programs on how to handle the difficult times. And he came in, I said, and we hugged. And I said, Jerry, how you doing? He said, I'm so good. God's favor is on me. You wouldn't believe it. And I said, if it weren't, you wouldn't tell me. He said, yeah, I would. I was at the doctor's yesterday, and he told me I had cancer. And I went, whoa. Cancer? He said, yeah, I could die right here in this place.
Don't
I said, what are you laughing about? That's not a funny thing.
Yeah.
And he does. And we talked about it. We recorded a week of programs on dealing with difficult things. And he's amazing.
Yeah.
He not only, as we did, the programs were powerful, by the way. I'm not sure when they'll be aired, but you guys who listen to that program, Key Life teaching program, you'll be blown away with Jerry. I said, can we talk about that on the program? He said, of course, I'm going to talk about it. And so he explained what the doctor said to him. Now, the doctor thinks he's going to be okay. There's going to be a major surgical procedure. But it's just cancer, and that's not a nice word. I have a missionary friend in Korea who wrote a book, Does My Father Know I'm Hurt? And he's a doctor, and he equated cancer with Satan and used that as an illustration throughout his book. So that's not a nice word. But we sat down, and I could tell you a lot of things he said on those programs. I'm not going to do that. But throughout it all was the thankfulness that he genuinely felt about his cancer. And Paul said that we got to give thanks for all things. And Jerry really did that for me yesterday. And I was amazed. And he meant it. I mean, he jumped into that pool of Thanksgiving and swam and had a good time and laughed. He said, I don't understand it. And I don't like it. He said, but I have a drawer in my filing cabinet that's labeled don't understand. But he said, I understand God, and he's good all the time, and he's sovereign all the time. And, man, I felt like I went to church. Well, no, that can be boring. I mean, I went to a really great church and I do, by the way, with a really great sermon from my friend Jerry Perry's.
And he was so thankful and didn't even get pecan pie.
That's true.
Don't tell
We
him
should have
about that.
invited him in today so he'd at least have some pecan pie before his surgery. But, that's hard to do, isn't it? when we go around the table and talk about what we're thankful for and the blessings that we have, there are people listening right now who are going through some really tough stuff. I talked to a man last night whom I love. He's a drunk and loves Jesus. And he fully expects that soon Jesus is going to fix the drinking problem. But his son died of a drug overdose. He wanted me to call him and pray for him, and I did. And I didn't tell him, but I could have said, the Bible says even here, when it's really dark and it's really, really hard, God's still God. He's still good. He's still sovereign. He still has the best plan for you. So right now, don't just think of family and Jesus and stuff that you're normally thinking. Think of something that's really bad in your life. And say, Jesus, I don't understand, but thank you. Enjoy this show, would you do us a favor, and we'll do you a favor? Just click subscribe and like, and maybe drop a comment. It's as easy as that. And for every positive comment you give, this is our favor, you get 3 free sins. And there is a limit to 6, so you can't keep making comments and save yourself from a fiery eternity.
Well, you ought what you ought to say is you can't make the same comment. You have to at least come up with a better comment than your previous one.
Good point. That well, if you can. All kidding aside, it really would help. We'll put it in a brochure and make some money on it. No, I shouldn't say these things. I keep saying inside, shut up, Brown. Just shut up.
That's what happens when you don't read the script.
I know.
Oh, I read it. I'm just ignoring it.
Hey, listen, Matthew, I understand you got a Thanksgiving trivia thing that you're going to do for us.
I have a couple questions for you if you guys are so inclined. Here's one for you. How much did the world's largest pumpkin pie weigh? Any guesses? How many pounds?
Ooh.
How many pounds?
Are we guessing closest without going over?
572 pounds.
572. Okay.
I'll
1,000.
1,000's closer than 500.
Dang it.
Oh, well, I'll go 1150.
1150.
No,
Yeah, but
I'm
he
thinking-
gave you a hint,
I'm
and that's not
thinking-
fair.
Hey, well,
I'm thinking like maybe somewhere around 650 to 7.
You guys are way off. This thing was 3,000.
wow,
699
You're kidding.
pounds. It was made by the New Bremen Giant Pumpkin Growers in Ohio, and this was back in September of 2010. It was 20 feet in diameter.
Good night. My dog Annie would eat that.
You should
in
still eat that.
half an hour.
Okay.
I want to know if
did
they had
they-
a giant pie
I-
scooper thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I want to
Giant.
know where they took it to bake it.
yes, right? Yes, that's
yeah, was it a no bake?
And what
Can
about
you do
the
a no
pie
bake
pan?
thing?
yeah.
I
And
mean,
who
we're
washed
talking
it?
a serious pie pan.
Who
here.
washed it after?
And
Yeah,
a
really.
giant
Have to have
can
an
of whipped
army
cream.
bringing the pie.
This merits further investigation for sure. Okay. What state provides the most turkeys? I'll give you multiple choice on this one. So, A, Minnesota, B, Wyoming, C, Arkansas, or D, Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
for sure.
What kind
That
of
is-
turkey?
that is
You
true.
know the difference between Congress and the Boy Scouts?
No.
The Boy Scouts have adult supervision. I believe Minnesota.
Okay, got one vote for Minnesota.
Well,
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
I'll go with Arkansas as well.
Yeah.
I was thinking Arkansas, too,
Ha.
because it's the most unlikely.
Jeremy?
He
Say?
said
He
Arkansas.
said Arkansas
Oh, I didn't
first.
hear.
Yeah,
I'm
Minnesota.
Wow, dang it.
Minnesota.
Seriously.
40 to 42 million birds per year.
I know. I cheated
Okay.
on that because I heard that in the newscast.
Okay.
Oh, you
But it's
I-
so
I
cold
feel
up there.
In service of
I know.
full
Turkeys like cold.
disclosure.
Yeah.
I
Oh, do
always
they?
say that.
Yeah,
That's-
they look forward to being in the refrigerator after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they're probably easy to catch. The turkeys are like, I'm living in Minnesota. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
They
Here's my
come in
neck.
and volunteer.
Just go.
Just go.
Sorry,
Here's my neck.
Sorry, Minnesota
Chop it off.
listeners. That was not nice. All right, what is typically the biggest safety hazard on Thanksgiving? Again, multiple
choking.
choice.
I know.
A, frostbite. B, fires. C, icicles. D, passing out and drowning in gravy. This is not at my house. This is in general.
Say those again.
A, frostbite. B, fires. C, icicles. Or D, passing
Oh yeah,
out.
fires, because
Uh,
people who deep fry
Yep.
turkeys, man, that
Yeah,
can be
fire.
all
That's it.
over.
Kitchen fires. It's a real...
Do you
And
know
who
that-
does a
danger.
deep fried turkey in their kitchen anyway? That's
right.
like Moron City.
Yeah.
Did you all know that talking about falling in the gravy and dying, drowning in the gravy, that sort of happened to Jonathan Edwards' wife. This is true.
Whoa.
During the Great Awakening, she was in a religious swoon and fell in the gravy over the mashed potatoes.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
Nobody knows that. You won't find that in a book.
You made that up.
This
No,
is
I
why you
didn't.
listen
No, I
to Steve
didn't.
Brown,
Well, if
etc.
it
Right, I mean,
can't be
you don't-
found in a book, then you made it up.
Everybody just talks about religious stuff with Edwards, and nobody ever mentions his crazy wife and the time she fell in her mashed potatoes.
But
Wow.
what a
And
way
I
to
thought
go.
I'd share that with you.
Yeah.
I
I'm glad you
not
did.
make it.
You made this Thanksgiving special. All right. What did President Calvin Coolidge, famously receive as a Thanksgiving gift? A, an oil painting. B, a new Ford Model A. C, a crystal decanter. Or D, a live raccoon.
I'm going to say the Model A
Model
Ford
A?
with the raccoon driving it.
With the raccoon driving it.
With the raccoon sitting on the front of it.
Anybody? Yeah. Model A?
That's a Thanksgiving gift.
As a Thanksgiving gift.
Raccoon.
Yeah, got to go with the raccoon.
It is a raccoon.
Oh,
They
how
named
funny.
it Rebecca, and not surprising, it was sent to them by a man from Mississippi. Sorry that Jinx couldn't be here
Oh,
for that.
dang, yeah.
They let it just run around, just willy-nilly. Little Rebecca.
Rebecca the raccoon.
Yep.
And he said something like really profound, like a raccoon. This is Thanksgiving, man. You ever tried to deep fry a raccoon? Tastes
grilled
chicken.
situation.
Yeah, right. Guys, this is deteriorating quickly, but
really is.
stay with us. We'll resume after we have another piece of pecan pie or the pumpkin, whatever it is, cobbler, and then we will return like Jesus. And I wish you could be here and have some of this pecan pie. You would die for something that good. Hey, we're glad you're here. As you know, some of the best conversations happen around the table. That's true of us here, too. But some happens off air. That's why we created Steve Brown, etc. Insider, a special YouTube channel available exclusively to our email subscribers. Now, that's free. I mean, we're not hustling a buck on this, but one of the perks that you get if you sign up for that is you get to listen in on our cussing and spitting in the breaks, in the commercial breaks. Actually, we edited it a little bit for coughing and cussing, but sometimes the conversation there with a guest is more interesting than the one we put on the air. So if you'd like to it, go to keylife.org, hit subscribe, and then don't complain because it's free. You guys have any memories of Thanksgiving that are mishaps or maybe you didn't expect something that went wrong?
I have the classic one of, I had a run for several years where I'd smoke the turkey and, big deal, try to get it right. You feel like the man. You're like, look at this. Behold the food I have placed on the. And then you go to carve it and you're like, hey, pal, what's this neck in here? What's this bag of giblets? You know you're supposed to take that out. And you're like, all right, well, maybe next year I'll be the man. So.
What about you, George?
Nothing comes to mind, actually. It's sort of like a Kamala Harris moment.
We'll just keep talking.
Yeah. It's
So
Can we circle back to that?
It's a time when we give thanks for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because I grew up in a middle class home.
Wow.
And
I mean, we've gone.
Boy,
up
are we
that.
going to get
Yeah, I know.
That
Sorry.
actually segues into mine.
yeah, no.
Thanksgiving. I can't think of. Well, I think of one. I'm going to tell you all later, but most of the time, Thanksgiving's a pretty. I mean, what can go wrong at Thanksgiving except the
Go ahead,
turkey?
Jeremy.
You got something.
It's either
Jeremy's got one.
It's either a generally kind of down level whatever
Yeah,
for all of them.
Kind of laid back, and
Or-
turkey will do that to you. It's
Yeah.
a comfort food.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
I'm going to be careful in how I do this and not
Oh, that's a good
out
story start.
anybody. So basically, my wife's family is all pretty close, and there's a lot of people in town, and we've sort of hosted Thanksgiving for a long time. Typically, we have 25 to 30 people at our house. And so usually it's a whole thing where all energies are focused on that. There was a time maybe 10 years ago that there was an event I was involved in, and it was a pretty big production. A lot of, people in town, and it was more of a musical play-ish than just like a concert. And I was involved in it, and there was a lot of other, people in town. And the playwright, let's say, who also is a chef, said, okay, and the show happened right before Thanksgiving. He's like, I want everyone to come to my place for Thanksgiving. So we're like, well, we got to go to this. So we had two Thanksgivings, right? One that we're doing and one that we're like invited to the special thing. And we go to the special thing and it's great. And the food is fine and the conversation is fine until it takes a turn. And then we realize, oh, we're the only conservatives in this very not friendly environment. And it became all about that. And we're like, right, cool. This was great. We actually do have to get to our own things, but thanks. We love you. Bye. Okay, bye.
Wow.
Boy, I tell you, politics has hurt a lot of Thanksgivings, and that's a tragedy. I hate that we can't be civil and be different. What about you, Cathy? You remember one?
Oh, yes, indeed. It was a lot of years ago. My mother and I were in Maine and on the farm, and the turkey was in the oven, and the pots and pans were on top of the stove getting ready, and the electricity went out. Fortunately, there was a mobile home on the property that had a gas stove, so I pulled the turkey out of the electric oven, which was useless at that point, and took it down and put it in that. Well, then the next question was, and we took a couple of the pans, for, like we were cooking potatoes and that kind of thing, put them down there. But, how Thanksgiving is, you just have way more food than what you need to eat anyway. So it was like, what are we going to do? Some of the pans hadn't been filled with water, and because there's a well on the property when the power goes out, there's no water either. Well, it had snowed the night before, so we went out and got fresh snow and filled the pots and turned the grill on to heat the water, being very careful because they had a very large Newfoundland dog not to get any yellow snow in order to cook the potatoes and the carrots and all of that and put it on. You think your grill is like super, super hot. Do you have any idea how long it takes to heat water on a grill when it starts out as snow?
Wow.
It was hours and hours. It was like 10 o'clock at night before we ever had Thanksgiving.
No.
It was hilarious. Just hilarious. The turkey was done. We were all standing around picking at the turkey, but there was nothing other than the turkey that was done.
Well, you could have Thanksgiving breakfast instead of
Yeah.
dinner.
I believe we
That would've
did.
been
Thanksgiving
good.
pizza.
Yeah, right. I have a memory. When I was a pastor, we used to invite We had a Thanksgiving service early in the morning, and people came. It was a great service. People just stood up and talked about what they were thankful for. And we sang Thanksgiving hymns and that sort of thing. And then if some people didn't have any place to go, we invited them over to our house to have Thanksgiving with us. I should have said, if you're sober, but I didn't. If I ever do it again, I'm going to make sure that that's clear. If you're drinking and you're drunk, you go sleep it off. Don't come to our house. But this lady showed up, and Cathy was there, by the way, at that time. And she had a bottle of booze, which she hid in the bathroom. And I thought, boy, she's going to the bathroom a lot. But she'd go in there and drink more and come out drunker than she was when she went in. And our older daughter, Robin, discovered the booze and wasn't happy. And she was so drunk, she didn't know where she was. And that's really true. And sometimes she'd look like she would leave, and we'd get our hopes up. And then she would turn around and come back.
She walked the front sidewalk at least 12 times.
I know. And I remember thinking the next morning during my devotional time, and maybe it was God, when I got the feeling that maybe that was the most important person at the Thanksgiving dinner. And probably the most important person we invited. Jesus said when they don't accept your invitation, go out and find some drunks. Go out and find some poor people, some people that don't deserve your Thanksgiving stuff. I'm not laying guilt on you. I'm not doing it again. And if I'd known what was going to happen, I wouldn't have done it the first time. So
That's
this
the name
is
of my book.
confession time. We're going to come back and tell you who's going to be here next week. Maybe have some more chit-chat. Don't go away, because this last short segment is the most important, the most sterling, the most amazing, the most wonderful segment. I've still got 4 seconds. I just don't have anything more to say. Hey, this has been, and it isn't because of us.
Yes?
This has been
Insert adjective here.
it's an existential Steve.
Well, the food was great, and you guys aren't too. You know, talk about being thankful. I'm thankful for the people that God has put around us in this ministry. It is amazing. When somebody has to leave, and they can stay if they make forever, if they make the first 3 months. But George and I have talked about so often, and you guys have all been a part of it. When there was a vacancy, and we'd think, what are we going to do? How should we advertise? And if we do you have to then accept the turkeys that apply? And what God has done is provided exactly the right person. And we have in this place some of the most gifted, intelligent, godly, in the good sense of that word, men and women that make this ministry go. And because I have for so many years now, we have a bunch of voices, but have been the voice of Key Life, I got the credit for it. And nobody saw what everybody else was doing and make things happen and make me look good. So when I'm thankful for that too. And I'm thankful that all the bad stuff is edited out. That nobody's going to read off my sins because nobody's going to know them when I get to heaven. And I'm going to make it there clean. And I'd like to say that was the reason, but it'll be because the righteousness of Christ. And by the way, We know it's not Thanksgiving. You're probably listening on the weekend before Thanksgiving. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is your mother speaking. Be nice to everybody who's there. Don't talk about politics, and don't eat too much turkey. But from all of us at Key Life to all of you, we are thankful for you. And we hope you have a great, great Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. This has been fun, hasn't it?
Yep.
You know, what we've done is simply do what we do around here anyway. You know, we don't work real hard, but we talk a lot, and we sit around and have good times just because we kind of like each other.
Yeah.
And we're glad that you were a part of it this time.
Yeah.
Hey, who's going to be here next week?
Next week, our friend Chad Bird will be here with us, and we're going to talk about his book. It's one of his older ones. It's actually in the second printing, etc. But it's a great book. It's called Your God is Too Glorious.
Yeah, he's great. He's got a mother of all beards, too.
Steve's jealous.
Hey, you guys, join us next week, same time, same place. Between now and then, don't do anything we wouldn't. And that gives you a wide, wide berth.